At the end of most race weekends, the action begins to calm as drivers, teams, and friends pack up for the day. For GRIDLIFE Touring Cup, things are far from over at Autobahn Country Club in Joliet, Illinois. Under beautiful sunny skies, things have been stormy on the track in GLTC. Aaron Lichty leads the combined points through race number 3 by 1 point over race 3 winner Andy Smedgard. For the last step on the podium, Emil Tab lags 1 point behind Pervez Rendilla's Fire Engine Red FRS. With one race remaining, the chaos from the previous 3 will culminate in a final dogfight at the front. The edge of our seats and the edge of the racetrack are about to be the most expensive real estate in the Chicago area. The Windy City has blown us away this weekend, but who has the guts to pull off a victory in race number 4? Welcome back to GRIDLIFE Live. My name is Kyle Heyer, joined by DJ Alessandrini for race number 4 of the weekend, the final race of the weekend here, DJ. Lining up with an 8-car inverted grid, and it's going to be Jake Price on the front row in his number 02 Mazda Miata. Going to be a wild start, to say the least.
Yeah, look, turn 1 was running out of room before you threw in the twist of the inversion. So now that there's that inversion twist, it's going to be wild into turn 1. I just hope that those guys keep it together. I think some of them can hear me in grid right now. Don't be a doofus.
Well, again, we've seen some really aggressive starts, perhaps the most aggressive that we've seen in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. There's been a little bit of contact here and there. Some elbows have gotten out. But for the final race, when we invert everybody, Aaron Lichty, who led the points, or is leading the points coming in by 1 point, he's going to be starting back in 6th place. That's where Ryan Upham was when he made the impressive start in race number 3 that almost landed him a penalty. It was decided that he will keep his grid position, which will be 5th place for race number 4 on the weekend. Jake Price, Woody Hyman on the front row, Pervez Randilla and Rob Manicheri on that second row. Any one of those 4 could take this win, but Jake Price is kind of an unknown territory here at the front of this field. He's been on pole position in oval racing before, his first time on pole in GLTC.
Yeah, Jake definitely has a lot of work cut out for him, just awareness-wise, just looking in the mirrors. And Ryan's start in race 3, it was determined he's better lucky than good with how much of a jump he got on everybody. It was like a split second away from being a penalty. So Ryan, he's a lucky fella, but he's going to be starting 5th with Aaron going to be on his outside. But, well, it depends because Jake Price might pick the inside while Aaron's been picking the outside, knowing that the track switches back into turn 3, which he's found an advantage going into turn 4.
Yeah, this was a discussion that Tom and I had at Gingerman Raceway a few weeks ago. Do you take the non-preferred line into turn 1 just to keep that momentum around the outside? Now, we've seen all this weekend that Aaron Lichty's elected for driver's left, which would put you on the wrong side of the track if you want to get to the apex. Well, you get pinched so hard down there that the outside's the faster way around, at least on lap number 1 here, DJ. So we're curious to see what Jake Price does. Again, hasn't started on pole in GLTC yet, so maybe he doesn't know which lane he wants to be in, but I can tell you Woody Hyman's going to be charging up the outside or the inside into turn 1 and might come out as the leader.
I mean, I can totally see why Aaron's picking the outside of turn 1 to start off. There's just a lot more room out there. There's more options. There's way more possibilities. And it seems to be when somebody gets a good start and they go on the attack, they make it 3 wide to the inside. So if you start inside, now you're the car in the middle. You're the one with the least amount of options. So when you start to the left, you have a little bit more options to use to try to navigate through that turn 1 safely and efficiently.
Well, safely and efficiently is the way we want things to go here this afternoon. We've had 3 barn burners, and I keep saying this, at every single GRIDLIFE Touring Cup race we have, it gets closer and more competitive, and that's been the case all weekend long. It's really been a Smedgard and Lichty show at the front, though, but with this inversion, it's going to bring in a whole bunch of other players. We already talked about Woody Hyman, Pervez Randilla starting 2nd and 3rd. Rob Manicheri has been kind of nipping at the heels of the podium all weekend long. Ryan Upham we saw have a really good start. Didn't have the fire to finish quite up as far up at the front as he got. But also, like Luke McGrew just missed out on the invert. He's been quick. So has Eric Meadows. Very similarly prepared cars. And Louis Chatroop has been super fast all weekend, especially out of the gate.
You know, I'm looking at the points right now. You have a 1-point battle for 1st and 2nd, a 1-point battle for 4th and 3rd, and then it's tied for the next grouping. It's like every 2 drivers down the list, it's really who's going to beat that other person. So everybody has their own race going into this race. So with the inversion, you know, you might see Jake Price like letting somebody by, just knowing that, hey, the more I choke myself up, the more I'm going to be swamped by other drivers. You might think, well, if I keep this guy behind me, then, you know, that delays the inevitable of what's going to happen with these faster cars and drivers behind me. It's going to be really interesting to see how these strategies play out throughout the race.
And something about Autobahn Country Club that's definitely different than Gingerman a few weeks ago was we can't see one of the major passing zones here over in turn 11. If you're looking at the stream right now on that top left angle, behind the trees on the right side, that's where turn 11 is, completely out of sight. We've seen a lot of passing happen over there. Now we got a camera shot over in turns 14 and 15 to show us what happens as you come onto this Kinks front straightaway here, DJ. But that set up a lot of interesting passes down into turn 1. With a 15-minute race, there's plenty of time to get something done and set somebody up. But you got to be aggressive out of the start because everyone else is going to be as well.
You know, the braking down into turn 11 after the longest straight and best passing opportunity on the track is tricky. There's some bumps in there that is really catching some of the non-ABS drivers here in the GLTC grid off guard. So, you know, the drivers with the newer cars like Andy Smedgard, you know, all those BMWs, those guys have ABS, and that's going to really come into play attacking into the best passing zone on this racetrack.
Yeah, the ABS discussion has been one all weekend long with Smedgard being able to hammer the brakes 20 feet later than everybody else. It's made for some really interesting and at times a little bit frightening situations where he shuts it off in the corner and the drivers in front of him or behind him don't have ABS and they're not expecting that differential. So now that they've learned that a little bit, they should be able to better defend. Another driver that's been amazing on the defense is Ryan Upham. Taking the middle of the road, defensively driving it worked out for him. And again, he'll be starting in 5th spot for race number, is that right? Yeah, 5th spot for race number 4. So the field now heading around for their one pace lap. The timing and scoring will be on the left-hand side of your screen once we get to the start of the race. Scott Bowling in the beautifully prepared 722 Cayman. That's out of the winning Formula camp, as well as the 3 Miatas that have been up front all weekend long. And Emil Tab, we talked about him. He sits 4th in the point standings, 1 point off of Pervez Randilia. Although Emil Tab starts 7th, Randilia in 3rd. So that's going to be a really interesting battle to watch for the points.
Yeah, if Emil finds himself on the podium again after this weekend, that will be 2 podium finishes overall for the weekend for the first, well, not first 2 events because I guess we went to COTA, but for the first 2 post-COVID events here. And that would be a great start to Emil's season and a great points tally for the season points. Now, it looks to me, I could be wrong just because I was looking farther down the grid, but it looks like Jake Price took the left starting position. So he's going to be on the outside going into turn 1. That means you're going to have Woody Hyman with that ABS on the inside of Jake to start off. And more importantly, you're going to have Aaron Lichty, who's been starting on the outside every single race up until now. Well, he's starting on the outside again. He's just 3 rows back. But I will say, on the outside going into turn 1, you have a little less options to dart out, make it 3 wide, go for a pass. So really, whoever Aaron is behind, which is going to be Robert Mancheri, his teammate, you might see a bump draft to kind of get the train moving going into turn 1 behind Aaron Lichty, because he needs to beat Andy. It's whoever finishes in front of the other driver.
Take a deep breath.
I ate a chip earlier and it started coming around. Whoever wins wherever they are in the grid between Aaron and Andy is going to win the weekend, and they know that.
There's also season-long point settings that are kept track of on simtvbroadcasting.com/GLTC. Thanks so much for joining us on the GridLife Facebook page and on Sim TV this afternoon. Again, working within our means this weekend, as we'll have more GridLife coming later this summer for you. But as the field lines up, they re-racked and restacked for race number 4 of the weekend. Again, at the front, it's Jake Price, the number 02, his first ever pole in GLTC, alongside Woody Hyman in the 802. They're going to have a great drag race down the front stretch. You'll catch it all right here on the 3 cameras we've got. Live in sound and vision. Thanks, John Heinhoff, from Autobahn Country Club in Joliet, Illinois. It's a beautiful day for racing. It's the last race of the weekend before we head to Mid-Ohio in about a month.
Yeah, any second now they're going to become winding around race 13. I feel my heart in my chest again. It's
I'm standing up.
This is I guess I have to stand too since you're holding the mic. All right, here they come around turn 13.
Field comes out of turn number 13. Pace car pulls off, and now we're going to make the run down to the start-finish line. Jake Price is elected for driver's left. The green flag about to fly, double file. 15 rows deep in GLTC. Green flag flies racing from Autobahn Country Club in race number 4. Side by side down to turn number 1. Hyman pulls out in front. Manacheri to look up the inside. Maybe 3 wide. No, Hyman comes out with the lead at the exit of turn number 2.
You know, Jake Price was actually starting behind Woody Hyman, who was supposed to be second place. He didn't speed. Oh, Jake's off in a bad spot at 3. No, everybody's handling it well, so that's a good thing for everybody behind him.
Yeah, Jake Price just dropped a wheel at the exit at turn number 3, so he'll pull it back on course, but all the positions that he fought for with that invert are gone now. So also Aaron Lichty, he moved up into 4th place, I believe, so a good climb for him. And watch him, because he will be snaking his way through the field.
I was looking through the trees, so I'm not entirely sure if my eyes are messing with me or not, but I think Aaron is already in 2nd place. Does that make sense? I didn't watch the front couple rows going into turn 1. I was kind of watching what was mingling in the mid-pack there. All right, they're rounding around the back corner where we can barely see them right now. I think that's Aaron Lichty in 2nd place already, chasing down Woody Hyman.
It could be. Could it be the 14? No, I think it would be Aaron Lichty.
Or Robert Mancheri.
Or Robert Mancheri as they come down the back straightaway towards turn number 11. But out up front, it's Woody Hyman in the 802. It indeed is Aaron Lichty. So opportunistic moves there. Smedgard buried in the pack behind him, about 5th place. Again, 1 point separating them as they came into this race. Whoever beats the other are going to walk out with the weekend championship.
Yeah, Andy Smedgard found himself next side by side with Ryan Upham going into the best passing opportunity of the track. All right, Woody Hyman going around. Yeah, that was Aaron Lichty. So Aaron Lichty, in just 4 corners, found himself in 2nd place. Now he has the entire race to go chase down Woody Hyman and make it 3 out of 4 wins for the weekend so far.
And he better get going, because Aaron Lichty has won the first 2 races of the weekend. Got a little bit buried after an off in race number 3, but he's charging back to the front. Last time by, Hyman was quicker, but that was the first lap out. Lichty's going to get that Kate Miata fired up and ready to go forward. A bit of a battle back there between Luke McGrew and Louis Chatru as they come out of turn number 3. I think that's Jeremy Boysen behind. We got a little bit of side-by-side. There's Tiffany Kelly in there as well. And Tom O'Gorman, the 133 Married Motorsports car.
Tiffany Kelly just avoided a tank slapper from who's in the black E36. Was that...
Sadowskis.
Yes, thank you for saying it, Kyle. Yeah, it was a good save from Ejidiscus. Did I say it right? No.
Ejidiscus. I almost screwed it up there, too. Now they're going to head onto the far side of the course, out of our vision for a little bit. Looks like there's some side-by-side with Upham back there on the far side of the track. But can Woody Hyman hold off Lichty? It's closing 5 car lengths now, and this is really just a matter of time. The clock is ticking for Woody Hyman. The question is, how do you keep someone like that behind you? It's not easy to defend from a guy like him.
Being 150 pounds lighter than the other car would definitely be an advantage. Aaron is finding himself with full rewards weight right now, trying to chase down somebody without any rewards weight, and is already a faster car in a straight line.
Field heads down into turn number 11. Some good scraps for about 3rd through 8th as they head into turn number 11. Now final corner. Hyman continues to lead, but Lichty has chopped that gap roughly in half. 6 car lengths. Now 5, make it 4 as they come across the start-finish line. 2nd is Aaron Lichty. 3rd, Rob Manicherry. 4th, Ryan Upham. 5th, Pervez Rangelia. For 6th, Jake Price, Andy Smedgard, Emil Tab. And that is the 10 car of Ben Dozman taking a look down the inside for turn number 1. Smedgard side by side for that top spot.
So Aaron Lichty about 0.3 a lap faster on that last lap there, so he's definitely closing that gap to Woody Hyman. Interestingly enough, the timing showing that Aaron's in first, he definitely crossed the line after Woody.
I just got to switch the, there we go. Switching between positions and lap time. And that just goes to show you that Lichty was definitely quicker as they came through the start-finish that time through. He's going to get there. It's just a matter of how you get around.
Well, that also shows us that Woody was the 2nd fastest driver on track, so if he keeps this up, he's going to find himself on the 2nd place of the podium, thinking I think that Aaron's going to get past him. Well, Aaron's too good.
He's really, really good. And again, he's got the most wins in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup action. He's got the most starts in the series as well. So he's very experienced with that. They snake their way through patience and into turn number 10, which sets you up for a very long straightaway down into turn number 11. And he's closing 3 car lengths now. Make it 2 as they approach the braking zone. Lichty's came out of really stretching the legs on that 802 there.
Now, Woody, he is one with ABS on that E36 BMW, so Aaron Lichty and a Miata with no ABS is going to have a harder time making the pass on there. I think Aaron's going to have to set him up out of 3 into 4, maybe into 5, because Aaron's speed out of 4 is unrivaled in the field so far.
Here they come across the line this time through. We're about 5 minutes into this race. Hyman leads by 2 car lengths over Lichty into turn number 1. Lichty closes on the brakes. No ABS in that K Miata, which was a weakness for him when he was racing Smedgard earlier this weekend. 1 car length now closing for the top spot in GLTC race number 4. Good battles behind him, but for the lead, it's getting tighter and tighter as they make their way to the middle sector.
You got Justin Kelly making a pass on Scott Robertson into turn 1, watching how that pulls out. You got the Kelly Motorsports team teaming up on Robertson there. They both got by him in 1 turn. One engaged, and then they both went through.
And Justin and Tiffany Kelly have both been battling gremlins all weekend long in their S2000 powered FRS and the S2000, or the K, I think it's a K-swap, isn't the S2000? I don't know what's in the other S2000. No, it's an S2000 motor.
Yes,
but, yeah.
They both have S2000.
They both have the hearts of an S2000, but one's an FRS, and they were fighting issues all weekend long, but they got them fixed up and are running well now. As they come through patience on the far side of the track, Aaron Lichty has gotten around the race leader. Move Aaron Lichty to the top spot over Woody Hyman as they snake their way through, but Rob Manicherry is close from third. He could have a run at the front two here shortly.
Yeah, now Woody just has to sit behind Aaron and just try to put together the best laps he can, because they have a decent gap to Rob Manicherry. They're only running, even while battling each other, they're only running like 2 or 3 tenths slower than Robert, and they'll run out of laps by the end of the race as long as Woody can keep running those good, consistent laps.
6 minutes into a roughly 15-minute race. It was a little bit shorter in race number 3. We'll see when the white flag comes out. Still a lot of racing left, but Lichty is through to the lead, and Rob Manicherry's gone through for third. And here comes Upham, charging for podium. They're all racing now. 4-way battle for the lead in GLTC, down into 1. Here comes Smedgard, going to be late on the brakes into turn number 1. Both cars have ABS here. Smedgard up the inside. He's going to get by for Pervez Rangelia. That is for 5th place.
Yeah, Andy finally making his way through the pack. He didn't do it nearly as fast as Aaron, and I think that's going to be all she wrote for the weekend winner. But, I mean, you can't really count on Aaron making a mistake, but it is possible.
Justin Kelly making a move right now in his S2000 powered FRS around Eric Meadows in the number 0 car. Now sizing up Jeremy Boysen on the run down to 4, and Tiffany Kelly having a look at Meadows as well down into that corner of the racetrack, looking way off into the distance. Can we see our leaders snaking their way through the far side? Again, it was Aaron Lichty leading, but Rob Manicherry got into second. We'll see if they come back around the same way they did before.
You know, the Kellys fishing through the crowd of cars together as a team. This has to be the greatest husband-wife bonding you've ever seen.
Through patience now. It looks like Rob Manicherry is about a car length and a half back from Lichty, but Lichty stretches on corner exit, really letting that car rev out. He had issues with his throttle body earlier in the weekend. Seems like that's been resolved. Look at Adam Jabay having fun back here in the 4.
Yeah, Adam Jabay in a little car sandwich. There's a little 3-pack back there battling toward the tail end of the field. So Adam doing some racing, he's got to be happy. Adam is always busy running the thing, so it's cool to see him out there and wheel a car.
8 minutes into the race, just past halfway, Aaron Lichty comes across the start-finish line, leads this lap as well. Manicherry right behind him. Manicherry ran about 3 tenths off, so a 3 tenths gain for the race leader. The rest of the field has gotten a little bit strung out behind them as they come through turns number 1 and 2, but Manicherry, is he going to be strong enough to run down his teammate? It's going to be hard to beat Aaron Lichty.
I'm honestly surprised how much it's strung out at this point in the race. I thought we would see just more packs of cars, but they seem to sort everything out really quickly.
Here comes Tom O'Gorman on Scott Bowling's number 722, and Tomo had one of the best races he's probably ever had in a race car the other day in race number 2. And here he is in race 4, all over the back of that Cayman. Integra versus Cayman, that's an unlikely battle on the street, but in GLTC, perfectly valid fight behind Scott Robertson's red MX-5.
Tom just gets such a better run out of 3. I think he even had to check up to avoid the kiss in the rear bumper that came in there. He had so much more speed coming out of 3.
And that car had a broken axle earlier in the weekend. They were able to repair it, and it's made a couple starts, but it didn't run race 3 either, so he had to start from the tail of the grid. So O'Gorman working his way forward, back in 17th place right now as we wait for the leaders to come back around. Lichty and Manicherry still a 6-car length lead for the number 190 K out of the winning Formula stable. The green, black, and white car running in second. Woody Hyman and Ryan Upham, the twin-looking BMWs, both of them bright red in color, 3rd and 4th, but they're closing on each other. I think we might see Upham go by Hyman here shortly.
Fastest lap of the race right now goes to Andy Smedgard, currently sitting in 5th, trying to get to Ryan Upham. Pervez just a little bit behind him. They're all within a second of each other, but they're all running basically the same lap times.
Smedgard's coming fast. He's having a look at 4th place Woody Hyman down into turn number 1, right on the tailpipes of those 2 BMWs, and he might have the pace to close in and at least pass 1 or 2 of them, and then get himself up on the podium. Aaron Lichty would still win the weekend if things finish as they are, but Smedgard's given all that he has as they come through to complete the 10th minute of this race.
I said they were running the same lap times, but then I looked down the list as they all just crossed the start-finish line again, and Andy Smedgard is a full 6 to 7 tenths faster than all the other people in the top 5 running the same lap time.
Justin Kelly slow at the exit of turn number 3, trying to get that car lined back up. Not sure if there's an issue with it, or excuse me, that's Tiffany Kelly in the S2000.
Right.
Struggling with left-hand corners earlier in the weekend, some gremlins on that car. Looks like there still might be an issue, but Tomo's still chasing Scott Bowling's Cayman.
Yeah, Scott Bowling doing a great job defending from Tom McGorman there. And I'm sure Tom just didn't have a place to go into turn 4 there. Yeah, Tom's still chasing him through. I could see through the cut in the trees. Aaron Lichty about the same gap to Robert Manicherry there. But Ryan Upham looks like he's closing down on the gap to Robert Manicherry.
And Manicherry's giving everything that he can have. And when you want to beat a teammate, it's even more drive to beat a teammate than it is to beat somebody else out of a different stable. Those cars, an NA versus an NB Miata, very different in terms of their approach to the same platform. But both of them very, very quick cars, and it's closing now. 3 car lengths this time through 11 minutes in, and the top 3 are here. And look at Upham closing in. He's gotten by Woody Hyman, puts himself right in the tailpipes of Rob Manicherry. And he's closing, and he has time to get there.
You know, he popped to the inside. I wonder if that's him trying to just force an issue, or he might be having cooling issues. But I mean, the car looks fast, and both Ryan and Robert are catching Aaron right now. How much more time we got in this? We have about 6-7 more minutes in this race.
But less than that. Could be about 3 or 4. We might see the white flag next time by. I see it in the hands of the starter. Ryan Upham ran the best lap of the race last time by. How about a 1:32.9? That's the quickest lap I think we've seen most of the weekend in that car. So he is flat flying right now as he chases down the winning Formula teammates.
The track is basically lava right now, and he did a 32.9. That was basically qualifying pace in the beginning of the weekend. So Ryan Upham definitely figuring out some stuff toward the end of this weekend here. Is it going to be enough to catch Robert, though? I guess we'll have to see.
He's still all over Manicherry as they work their way through Patience and into turn number 10. He's all over that green and black car. You could throw a blanket over him there, DJ, as they come through 10. If he can get that pass done into 11, he can have a run at Aaron Lichty, but he's only going to have about 2.1 miles left at Autobahn Country Club in GLTC race number 4 as we approach the final lap now into turn number 11. They're going to have a run here. We'll see if Aaron Lichty can hang on as they make their way around for the final time.
We got some back markers that are going to be possibly interfering with this last lap. The white flag, again, is in the hands of the starter. It's not being flown at. Okay, here we go. White flag flying.
Yep, and Ryan Upham has moved through to second place. Rob Manicherry with a great run to the outside. Slams the brakes into turn number 1, right in the tailpipes of Ryan Upham's number 13. Smedgard chucks it up the inside. Can't quite make it to a podium spot, but he wants it. He wants it bad. Nose to tail as they come through turn number 3. It's Lichty, Ryan Upham in the 13, Rob Manicherry, Smedgard, and the 802 of Woody Hyman.
Yeah, I mean, Smedgard's been picking up the pace throughout this entire race. The only person that's faster than him is Ryan Upham, who is 1 seconds across the line slower than Aaron Lichty. So Aaron Lichty, all he has to do is hit his marks, and he'll take 3 of the 4 wins for this weekend. But the real battle is for that last podium spot between Robert Manicherry and Andy Smedgard.
On the far side of the course now, where is Aaron Lichty? Is he able to hang on to the lead from Woody Hyman, the 13 of Ryan Upham, who charged from 5th place on the grid? Knows that, there's lots of lap traffic. They're fighting amongst it right now as they make their way through Patience and into turn number 10. Manicherry has Smedgard all over his rear tailpipes as they make their way out of the last straightaway. Looks like Upham is close. He's 4 car lengths back as they charge towards turn number 11 for the final time this weekend.
And, it looked like Aaron Lichty was going to meet up with that yellow spec Miata before, as they get to the end of the straightaway. That's going to impact his corner entry into 11, which is going to impact his exit out of 12. We could see Ryan Upham winning this race coming around the corner in turn 13 at any moment.
Here he comes, side by side for the race lead. Upham on driver's left, Lichty on driver's right. Drag race back to the checkers in GLTC race number 4. Lichty wins it by a car length over Upham, and in a spectacular show of strength by the 13 of Upham in the final corner. What a fight behind the trees, and they just pop out like that, DJ, every time. What a race at the front.
That yellow spec Miata definitely caused some chaos in there, and kudos to Upham and Aaron going side by side in the turn 13. That is not really a place you want to be. It's kind of a thread the needle element on the track. You have the pit wall coming toward you, and both of those drivers just handled that beautifully. They both had some slip angle in their cars. They came around the last corner. That was just a lot of fun.
It was so good. And every time I've seen a car disappear that close into the trees, you just have to expect them to be like that when they come out of 13. And every single race we've seen that be a factor. Upham from 5th to 2nd. For the lead for a moment, he had a nose out front, but he comes home second. How about a gap 0.197 seconds to round out the end of the weekend? One of our closest finishes we've had. You can never count anybody out. But Aaron Lichty, his weakness this weekend has been turn number 11, DJ, and it almost has cost him a couple race wins, but he still picks up 3 of the 4 and has a solid points lead in the season and in the weekend. He'll take home the weekend championship.
So not to scare everybody, but I was talking to Aaron Lichty in the paddock, and I was telling him why hasn't he done ABS yet, and he told me he has it. He just has to install it. So get ready, everyone, because that car with ABS might be a bit of a killer more than it already is. So if you're Eric Catil, you're watching, you got to put ABS in your car, man.
Aaron Lichty's car is already a weapon. You give it ABS, and that thing is a missile. And I cannot wait to see him maybe install that and give it a good run for the money. But what an epic race here. Every time, these trees it's like a black hole back there. And it just sucks everybody together as they come out of the final corner. And I really wish we had a window through the trees so we could see it happen, but I'm sure the onboard video later will show it all.
You know, every single time the battle disappears behind the trees, it's a little bit of a peekaboo moment. Every single time they come around and turn 13, I just feel like a little kid giggling each time they come around, because you really don't know what to expect. We really, you know, Kyle, next time we're here, we really need a camera on 11 and 12.
Yeah, we tried earlier in the weekend to get that. Couldn't quite get it set up the way we wanted, but Ryan Upham, he's got to be shaking. I'm shaking standing here watching him do that. And that was good, clean racing there. But, DJ, that's going to wrap up our 4th and final race of the GRIDLIFE Touring Cup weekend here at Autobahn Country Club. Our next event will be at the end of July at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. And that is the first track that we'll be returning to other than Gingerman Raceway for GLTC. You ran Mid-Ohio last year. You'll be running it again this year.
Yep.
So a lot of excitement coming in with a lot more builds up to the rule spec. Going to be an absolutely phenomenal race on GRIDLIFE Live when we return in July.
Yeah, the Mid-Ohio race looks like it's going to be stacked. Every single heavy hitter is going to be there. And for me personally, Kyle, I can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you so much for joining us here on GRIDLIFE Live. My name is Kyle Heyer, joined by DJ Alessandrini. Our buddy Tom O'Gorman, who helped me out a couple races this weekend, had a blast in the number 133 Myriad Motorsports car. He's going to pull that thing into the pits. And he'll head on to Mid-Ohio as well and join us back in the booth. Again, Aaron Lichty, Ryan Upham, Rob Manicherry, Andy Smedgard, and Woody Hyman, your top 5 as they come on through for the final race of the weekend. We'll see you again at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in a little over a month. We'll be there. We'll see you.